All right. Welcome back, my friends. This is Real Estate Bites, episode number 30. The topic of the day is 4 common misconceptions that buyers have when they're getting in the market, when they're starting to shop for houses. These are things that some are silly, some of them are pretty serious, and just wanted to cover them because for buyers and sellers and agents alike to know and be aware of some of these misconceptions, it can definitely help to set expectations, help you to manage your emotions. But as always, we start with local real estate statistics. Before we even jump into those, though, I want to tell you here at episode 30, for those of you guys who join me every week, and thank you so much for joining me every week. For you guys who watch this program every week, there's usually on average 200 to 250 people watching this every single week. You guys are better informed than the majority of real estate professionals out there. And that's not hyperbolic, man. I mean, unfortunately, I believe that to be true. Getting these kinds of statistics, hearing these insights into the industry, you guys have a better, your fingers more firmly on the pulse of what's going on here locally than most. So share this with friends and family. If you got friends and family who are interested about staying on top of real estate, local markets, or the industry, please share this. That said, let's take a look at these stats. All right. So this past week of real estate statistics, there are currently 337 single-family homes and condominiums, excluding mobile homes. There are 337 on the market in Lorain County. Again, inventory is crazy low. We take a look back at last year when I started to record this back in late September. You can see we were right above here, but the best that we got up to was 424. And here we are sitting at 337 homes and condos on the market in the entire county. Last week, there were 46 transfers, closings. The median square foot of those transfers was 1,661. Median home value was $235,000. The median square foot price was $153.83. The sale price to list price ratio back up to 100. We talk about this all the time. Home prices are staying flat. They are not appreciating. They're not depreciating. They're staying right where they have been now for the past few months. Average days on market last week was 42. And this morning, the market woke up with a conventional 30-year note, having a 7.16% interest rate. So our best, we got down to 663. We're a whole half point higher than that now at 7.16%. The high sale of the week last week was for $1,132,489 in the city of Avon. This was new construction. There were no pictures of this house. Unfortunately, I would love to see what 1.13 million got you in Avon. This was new construction in Red Tail. Some interesting notes about that new construction. This was just a 2,600 square foot home, unfinished basement, 3-bed, 2.5 bath, Cape Cod. Of course, I'm sure it will be beautiful on 0.15 acres. That is not 1.5. That is 0.15 acres in Red Tail. It was originally listed at $798,900 and eventually sold at $1.132 million, right? So that is 142% sale price to list price ratio. That's pretty wild. So, I oftentimes talk about why we use medians. That gets rid of outliers. Well, 142% sale price to list price ratio might have been an outlier because I take the average for that particular ratio when I look at whether that, how strong of a leading indicator that is for whether or not prices are appreciating or depreciating. But when I took this sale, the one that was listed at $798,900 and sold for over 1.1 million, when I took that one sale out of the data set, the sale price to list price ratio only went from 100% down to 99. So not that big of a deal. But that is this week's statistics. Moving on, this week's real estate meme of the day. Share the screen here. Waiting to hear back from the listing agent after submitting my buyer's offer. No doubt about this, guys. Listen, there is nothing worse in sales than simply not knowing. That's whether or not you got the listing. That's whether or not your buyer wants to write. That's whether or not they're pre-approved, or when you get back to something like this, where waiting to hear back from the listing agent after submitting the buyer's offer, not knowing causes such anxiety. And yeah, it does keep us up at night. No doubt. It causes such anxiety, especially when you have a buyer who probably has as much, if not more anxiety, waiting to know what's going on with their offer, and they're pressing you for answers and you got nothing for them. So that is so right on. There's nothing worse than not knowing in sales. Okay. So let's now get into the topic of the day. I thought of 4 misconceptions that buyers might have as they're entering the market for the first time. I'm sure every buyer hears a whole lot from mom, dad, their best friends, Uncle Larry, whomever, right? People who, have some experience, regardless of how far removed their home buying or selling experience has been from today and today's market. Everyone's got a great opinion. And I've come to realize that a lot of those opinions, a lot of those information that my buyer clients come to is garbage. It's worthless. Oftentimes it's misleading and can be even damaging to your experience. So what are 4 of those? Well, number 1, why are they selling? I get this all the time, guys. I specifically, and oftentimes we buyer agents, we don't know. We don't know the story behind the listing. On occasion, on occasion, we might find out, especially if the list agent may be someone who we have a relationship with, and or maybe they're a little more loose-lipped. But the reality is, we look at so many properties all the time. We go see so many properties all the time. There's not enough time to call everybody and ask, hey, what's the story? Why are your sellers selling this property? Give us the backstory so that my buyer has leverage. No, it's just not going to happen, guys. We don't know the story. And to be honest, I'm not looking for it. And I'm not even going to try unless you are interested enough to want to write an offer on this house. I'm not making those calls to try to figure out the story. All right. We don't know the story. Oftentimes people aren't selling because there's they just want to sell their house and move to a different one. All right. Next one. When you write an offer, you should be excited. Okay. It is a very exciting thing. You're getting into potentially the biggest transaction of your life. It's a huge move for you and your family. It is exciting. However, just because you wrote an offer doesn't mean it's going to be accepted. We're a long ways away from that. And I can't tell you how often I have a buyer write an offer, and as soon as we submit it, they already start planning where the furniture is going to go, the changes that they're going to make, the paint, the color that they're going to paint the bedroom, and they start making all of these emotional investments and plans into a house they haven't even been awarded the contract yet. And I mean, I have literally had this situation, guys, where I will tell my buyer client, I do not think your offer is good enough to win this prospective property because we're in multiple offer situations, and you might want to write stronger because I don't think this is good enough. And they say, no, we're going to stay put. And yet they still start making plans about what they're going to do in the house and what the first holiday they're going to host is. I've seen it happen in front of me in the office with buyer clients. Guys, just because you write the offer doesn't mean you're getting the house. We're a long way away. And here's the reality. Just because you get accepted doesn't mean you're getting the house. We're still a long way away, okay? It ain't real until this thing closes and I can hand you the keys. Then it's real, all right? That's buyer misconception number 2. Number 3, I recently had, I've got a listing. It went in and out of contract twice. We put it up on the market a third time. And each time we went on the market, we had a ton of showings right away. We have multiple offers every time. In this market, this is still a seller's market, regardless of what interest rates have done to demand. there is still such short inventory that it is a seller's market, and buyers, you have less leverage than you really think. I had this buyer's agent come to me, write an offer and get it to me at 10:30 at night that had a deadline for a decision by noon the following day. Guys, both of my people work on this following day, and I didn't even have an opportunity to review until afternoon. And even after I did that, the buyer's agent is pressing me for a decision, and she got mad at me and said, "Well, I cannot believe that your sellers wouldn't respect a deadline." And I said to her, "Why would they? I mean, really, why would they respect your arbitrary deadline that you put on your offer when we have a dozen showings booked up for day and tomorrow? We've got another offer that's coming in later on today. Why would they respect that deadline that you put on there because you're trying to press me?" Like, I guess maybe this works on a newer agent who needs every single sale. Every single sale feels like a life or death situation, and they haven't been down this road before. But it's a seller's market. You can't tell me there's a deadline, right? So we summarily ignored that deadline. We fielded other offers and more showings throughout the week. This actually was a Saturday at noon was this deadline. We eventually accepted that offer on Monday, right? So, when it comes to stuff like this, buyers, you got less leverage than you might hope for in this process. Misconception number 4, and the final one of the day: the terms of your offer are not safe. Okay. And this is this is a funny one because a lot of agents don't even realize that this is a real thing in this regard. So I came from a sales background where I wasn't doing my job if I did not attempt to know every aspect of my competitors' proposals. And I carried that in here. And, when I'm submitting an offer on behalf of my buyer, I will call. If I know we're in a multiple offer situation, I'll call and I'll ask, "Hey, where do we got to be? What do the other offers look like, et cetera, et cetera." And I've had agents tell me that I am unscrupulous and unethical, and that's illegal, and I should know better. And none of that's true. I'm trying my best to represent my buyer and for their best interest, and they want this house, and I'm going to try to get them this house. And there's nothing unethical or illegal about sharing those terms as long as you have your seller's permission. And here I want to share something with everybody so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is our Russell Real Estate buyer broker agreement. This is our exclusive representation agreement with buyers. Right here, section number 8 is the note to potential buyers. Ohio law requires all real estate licensees to advise their clients that terms and conditions of their offer to purchase may not be treated as confidential by the seller or listing agency. So not only is it not illegal for a listing agent and the seller to discuss the terms of offers to other potential buyers, it's actually Ohio law requiring licensees to advise their buyer clients that those terms are not confidential. Okay, it's quite the opposite. Okay, so you just have to understand and know, and this is when it comes down to developing a strategy with your agent, right? You got to understand that when you submit an offer, those terms might be shopped out. So are you going to submit early? Are you going to wait to the last moment to submit? What kind of a relationship does your agent have with the listing agent? You got to understand that when you submit an offer, you need to have a strategy, and you need to come correct on that because your offer and those terms may get shopped out to other potential offerers as that seller tries to realize the best potential means and proceeds on the sale of their property. That's all I got. That is the 4 common misconceptions I see from buyers going into the market. Until next week, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I love you, people. Thanks for being here today.